you would have an overproduction of bicarbonate, which is insanity. I've never seen that, to be honest with you, in terms of that sort of thing. I mean, it could be untold reasons, but I very rarely see that. I don't believe in messing with water, ionizing anything. Let it do it in the body as it's going. In reality, I get my water. This is a glass. This is water, Aqua Panna from Italy. It's in a glass bottle. I order it in here. Its pH isn't what I'd like it to be. Hard to get good water from the mountains that's been untouched. I've been by the Avion in France, beautiful place up in the Alps. I don't like the plastic. If Avion used glass, I'd be sucking down that water because I think their pH is closer to 8 or in the 7s. But you drink when you're thirsty. You get your water from fruits and vegetables. You let nature energize it, so it's a better way. But I would not drink high pH water. I think what cesium has got, a pH of 8, 8.5. I wouldn't get too much higher than cesium. That's probably one of the most alkaline metals on the planet. The Hopis had it. The Hunses had a lot of cesium in the soil, so it was claimed this is why those tribes didn't have any cancer, was the high amount of alkalinity in their foods. Maybe, but I wouldn't get much higher than that. I think that if you get too much higher than 8 or so, you're going to really start affecting blood pH to the alkalosis side, and that wouldn't be good either. So there's a balance to everything. I guess that's my point. And I just don't believe in spending a lot of money for these ionizers, and you're seeing a lot of people having problems with these high pH waters. So I'm just not into that myself personally. I was talking about, let's see, coconut oil, using coconut oil for a liver flush. Well, I can't see why that wouldn't work. That concentrated oils like that spasm the liver. That's why FDA considers oils probably one of the more toxic parts of plants. That's why in this country essential oils are kind of taboo about ingesting orally. And I understand that. I remember when Gerson Clinic was hot on 100,000 units of A and beta carotene, and the FDA thought that was a little toxic, and they quit doing it. And I find that true. I mean, we got trapped in this supplements, and we need to pound the body with isolates and to make it do what? I mean, the problem is simple. Acids build up in the tissues and break down cells. It takes a while because for a while it's always on the outside of cells causing inflammation. But when cells can no longer eliminate their internal waste, intracellular waste, then you have intracellular acidosis. Of course you're going to start damaging the DNA and the mitochondria and the chromosomes and blah, 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 blah. I mean, yes, yes, yes. And it's keeping that simple, though, will really help you, and you won't get trapped into that. So with the liver, using oils, I wouldn't overdo the liver gallbladder flushes. I would work on making my liver and gallbladder healthy. You will clean the stones out of the liver and gallbladder on a raw food diet and using some herbs, but if you've never done a liver gallbladder flush, everybody's got to experience it once or twice. But I don't know, any concentrated oil will spasm the gallbladder and liver and that make it expel its stones. So, I can't see why it would hurt you. Never done it. Always use the olive oil, but can't imagine. Someone has got fish is great to eat. Well, if you enjoy it, eat it. A friend of mine, we were raw foodists when we first started, before we moved more toward the fruitarian thinking. And I remember sitting on the pier out here, and he caught a fish and broke it open and started eating it right there. He said, well, if I'm going to eat everything raw, I'm going to eat my meat raw too. And that's how I see that. If you're going to eat dead animals, eat it raw, because then you're going to get some health benefit from it. Better take some parasitic herbs just in case. But you can do that, But I'm not opposed to some fish. Again, if you're going to eat meat, have it with a salad maybe once or twice a week. I wouldn't overdo it. If you're detoxifying, leave it off to the side for a while and get into the fruit levels and the berry and melon levels with maybe a few vegetables if you want. But that's detoxification. If you're just living life, well, whatever you want. I like a piece of chocolate once in a while. I think it'd be nuts not to. I always did like that Willy Wonka story. Let's see. The focus and contrast and limits of awareness. I love this guy. This guy's got an emblem of a tiger or a lion. I can't read the name here so much, but yeah, you're really cool, man. I mean, you know, you're mixing the intellectual in with the simplistic, so I like that, and I appreciate your comments on my spiritual videos on that. Yeah, interesting. The contrast and using creation. You know, we'll talk more of those things in the spiritual video about the difference between creation and your contrast, or the finite as opposed to the infinite, or the states of consciousness as opposed to consciousness. You know, you as opposed to what you create. You know, that's the interesting thing about soul is soul, and we touched about that in our first spiritual video, is that you as soul experiences by becoming that which you want to experience. That's the ultimate experience, is becoming that which you want to experience. But by becoming that which you want to experience, you lose who you are if you're not careful. The ultimate would be to enjoy the experience and not become the experience, but enjoy the experience. So, you know, it takes a little time to develop the ability not to keep losing yourself in your experiences or in your desires or in your creation, so to speak. So I really appreciate your comments, bro. Pretty good, like that. Yeah, that comment on the MRI equipment. Interesting. Interesting, for sure. Someone asked me about her grandmother who had radiation therapy to remove a breast and stuff. You know, what amazes me, I just can't figure this out, where this consciousness comes from these oncologists and these surgeons who think that, okay, once you remove a tumor or you remove the breast, why, knowing that radiation and chemo causes cancer, would you give that to a person? I think you should go to jail for that. How long? It depends. If you kill them, well, maybe you should spend a little longer there and contemplate your navel about why you don't kill people. You know, this is just getting away with murder, as far as I'm concerned. I have no doubt that 90% of this, she ended up dying from bone cancer and stuff. It is well known that radiation burns the bones. Chemo tears down bones. I've seen plenty of people get bone cancer after chemotherapy. These are facts. And you know what? I think we need to turn the tables on these guys. You know, they've come off their big narcissistic egos that they can give you battery acid. Remember, in nursing we call it chemo Drano. Why do we do that? And if you've ever had IV therapy, you'll know why they tell you don't spill chemo on the skin. That's the first thing you're taught. When you're administering chemo vascularly, you don't spill it on the skin. Why? Why do you wear gloves? You know, come on. Come on, guys. We don't have to hurt people in this illusionary facade of treating some mysterious disease no one understands. Maybe the only one that doesn't understand what they're doing is the medical community. That makes me want to puke. So sorry you lost your grandmother, although remember, she's just a soul traveling around to her next experience. But the suffering and the crap that this poor lady went through because someone thought she should have some radiation therapy. This person needs to be paid for that. Of course, karma. Guys, I'm going to tell you, karma, and this goes for and it goes for me too. That's why I try to give love and help, because man, you know, whoever did that's got karma to pay, whether they realize it or not. They might think they did it for the good of the whole, but they're smoking something in the back room. Although I find, yeah, I won't go there. But that's a sad thing. But we see this constantly. If you want to know where I get some of my warped mentality, is you have to sit behind this desk of mine for 40 years and have all you lovely souls that have been butchered come in here and tell me your stories, and you're hanging on to life. Mothers with kids hanging on to life because they decided to use chemo or radiation when they didn't even have to. I would just love medical doctors to have this crammed down some of their throats. You know, that sometimes gets me off of balance.